Hat in this, hat in this. I mean, come on. Hey everyone, it's Natalie, also known as Knitty Natty. Welcome to episode 95 of the Love and Stitches podcast. Today is Wednesday, January 27th, 2021. Welcome to another week and another podcast and another location. I am not yet ready to reveal what I have done with my yarn room. It's coming soon, I promise. So today I am sitting on the couch. I've also done a little change up with my microphone, so I'm hoping it's working out okay. I think I've changed it so that it picks up my voice more directly rather than more like noise around it. We'll see. I tried to experiment, but you never really know until you just start. Why is my watch still on for work? Okay, so I hope you're having a great week so far. I'm excited to get into some knitting and show you some things and so show you some projects that I'm scheming up because I have been with my current whips for a long time and it's time to finish up and move on here really soon, especially since we're getting close to the end of the month. Like next week will be February, which I really can't believe it. Usually January drags on and it has just flown by. I can't even believe that February is coming up. If you missed the last episode, 94, it was a live episode. It's still in the podcast playlist, but it didn't like pop up like the normal ones do. So if you missed it, go back and watch that. I do go through all of my projects there along with some chat and stuff. So I think that's something I'm going to explore doing is a live podcast once a month or just a live video in lieu of a podcast. So let me know what you think about that. I want to continue to do my lives here on YouTube for everybody because I have started adding on things for my membership. So just figuring out how to balance that and not take away from what I was already doing here on YouTube. I think that might be a really good way to do that and still build community here on YouTube. So I love doing the lives. I think they're really fun. So the lives will come, but do you want them to be a podcast or not a podcast? I guess is kind of what I'm wondering from you right off the bat. Okay, so what was I wearing today? It was actually a pretty chilly day today. It's nice and bright and sunny. The sun is starting to set, but I did get to wear some of my knitwear. I have been wearing my same hat. I can't remember what this is called. I know it starts with an N, and I'll make sure to link it, but I've been wearing this hat. It is great. It's just a simple like one skein fingering weight hat. Slouchy, I don't know. I wear it every single day. I probably need to wash it, but it's got me thinking that I want to make at least one other hat. I do have like a chunky hat that's bright purple, but I think I want another hat. And I have been seeing so many people lately making the MUSSELBURGH hat. MUSSELBURGH. I'm not really sure how you say it, but I'll put it on the screen. I'll put a little picture in and I will also link the pattern. It's a pattern by YSOLDA TEAGUE and it is, I was reading about it today. I was reading the description while I was like procrastinating at work. I needed a little brain break and it is actually really cool. Let me see. I should have pulled it up so that I can read it to you. But you know how when you're, shopping for yarn or something and you see two beautiful colors, but then one has like an amazing name or story and it makes you want to buy that. That's kind of how this pattern is here. Okay, let me see. Did I spell it right? I did. Okay, MUSSELBURGH. I don't know how to say it. All right, it is a multi-weight hat. So like you could use any gauge that you want. I'm guessing she gives you different like cast-ons. It's a paid-for pattern and I haven't purchased it quite yet. Okay, so here is the story. It says the MUSSELBURGH, I'm gonna say it different every time, maybe I'll get it right. The MUSSELBURGH hat was inspired by a World War II era pattern for a fatigue cap, which can be worn as a scarf and has many other uses. The pattern was simply a tube seamed at each end and folded in half inside itself. She just goes on to say how she was just struck by how simple that was and how easy it was. She of course modified it a little bit, and instead of it being like essentially a large tube, she has you start out really small, increase, knit the tube, and then decrease so that you actually get that like 4-point look on the top of the hat here. But it's a really clean looking hat, and then it makes it that it is doubled up and extra warm, which I know we don't need here in Texas, but it just seems like a really good way to like use up a beautiful skein of yarn and have a really simple pattern on the go. The first person I saw making it was Kay of Crazy Sock Lady, and then I just saw it like explode on my Instagram. Several of my insider members are making it right now. It's like everywhere, and so I really want to make it. And when did this pattern come out? Is it recent? Let me see. Came out December of 2019, so it's not even a new pattern. I don't know why it's making a surge right now. Probably because of Kay. Anyway, Kay, you've inspired us if you're watching today. I don't know if you do watch regularly, but I went over to my stash and I was looking around and I found this skein. So this is a yarn that I originally wound up for Slipstravaganza. And then once I did a swatch, I realized it was way too similar to my other colors and just blended right in. So I just left it caked, threw it behind the rest of my yarn. And today, when I was looking for something for a hat, I came across this. I love this color. I know it's not a neutral, which is probably going to serve me better in my wardrobe, but I really, really like this. And this is Long Dog yarn, and the colorway is Lady Amalthea or something. I knew we could never figure out, I didn't remember how to say this, but some of you knew what the reference was. So I figured I would keep this out for a little bit and see if I feel just drawn one day to cast on a hat and start that MUSSELBURGH, whatever it's called, hat. Maybe I'll look up the pronunciation in the meantime so that I know how to say it. But I think that will be super pretty, a great project just to have to carry around with me, simple and easy. And again, I'll link the pattern down below. Okay, so now that I'm already talking about future whips, why don't we get into just like actual whips here? I think we first need a Slipstravaganza update. I am smack dab in the middle of a row right now, but I am making decent progress. I'm doing my Make 30 for 30 every day. Make 30 for 30 is a make along where you knit or crochet on one project every day for 30 minutes a day. It takes me 40 minutes to do a row, so most days I try to do a whole row. Yesterday, I only got to work on this while I was watching back through my vlog, and I also did some other things, and so I didn't quite make it through the row, but here it is. It is just crazy. I also have spent a little bit of time weaving in some of the ends. Most of the ends I knit over, but some of them, like the ones here at the tops of the triangle, you can't knit over those when they have yarn overs. It just doesn't look right. So I've done a few of them. I need to do more. And then pretty much all of these ends I can just cut. So one day that'll be really satisfying to just cut them because I've already knitted over them when I was knitting this. Okay, so where am I? Where's my marker? I think it might be time to update my progress keeper here because that just helps like an old project feel a little fresher and more exciting. I'm not really going to change out my project bag. That's another strategy I have because I'm using my 5 skein float tote and it's so big. I only have one other option, a sweater bag, and I would rather use the float tote because it's got the cups for each of my yarns. So anyway, maybe a change in progress keepers will help, but that's where I was last week. You can see I've done a handful of rows since then. I am on the second to last stripe. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and I am on the 5th out of 6 rows for this stripe. So I'm almost done with that stripe. I have one more after that where I'm going to repeat this color. And I did modify the pattern a little bit after seeing some other people do this. And instead of doing like color 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, I did 1, 2, 3, 2, 1 is what I'm going to do. Just to make it a little shorter and hopefully get done a little bit faster. But I know y'all are sick of seeing that one. I am. Slipstravaganza by Stephen West. It was this past year's 2020 mystery shawl knit along. We will try to do better next year. I was actually looking at old Instagram photos last night and I saw photos from my very first Stephen West shawl make along, which was in 2018. I've done it for 3 years now and I have never stayed caught up. So I think it's just my nature maybe that I'm not going to be a one project person and I'm not going to have my schedule cleared, and I should just stop expecting that because it's not going to happen. Okay, my other whip is my socks, my January socks. I've got to get a move on. I was doing a really good job, like kind of keeping pace where I, 2 weeks into the month, I was almost halfway done. And then I guess I just kind of fell off of that. I think I'm going to blame work because work has been really crazy these past 2 weeks. But I did go to a Dallas Stars hockey game over the weekend. And so I did a little bit then. So here's one sock. Since last week, I have finished the heel here and then done quite a bit of the leg. I probably can put in another marker. I like to put in stitch markers every 20 rounds. And then once I had completed both of the feet, as you can see, there's a big gap. I started taking the stitch markers off of the feet and putting them onto the leg. So this marks the last round of the heel, or row, I guess, because the heel was in rows, right? Yeah. And then I'll do probably 40 rounds of stockinette and 20 rounds of ribbing. I don't like my socks too long. And then here on this sock, I haven't done like anything, like just a couple little rows. I got my pizza there. So I really need to get to working on these since Monday's February 1st, and it would be really nice to be, to start off the year actually finishing a pair of socks within the month. I'm pretty sure that these were cast on early in January, and so, let's start the year off strong. I feel like I should be able to do that. I am not going to use up all of my yarn here. I did split these skeins because I didn't want to run out of yarn and I had only 70 grams, but I'm not going to use up everything. So I should have plenty of yarn just doing my 60 round leg, and then these will be done, my cute little January socks. The yarn is Sunrise Fiber Company, and I think the colorway is Briar Rose. I'm not sure. I think she started dyeing yarn again. She took like several years break, and I'm not sure if that's a color that she still carries, but it's so beautiful. I really, really like it, and so I'm excited to have a pair of socks for myself in that color. I switched my microphone back to the other mode that I've always had it in because I feel like that first part was too could get a little yelly in your ears. So I'm sorry if the first 10 minutes were like that. We're back to this method. I don't know. You just got to try out different things and see what works best. One day I hope to get a different microphone too. So we'll see. It's fun looking back over all the years of podcasting and seeing what I have learned along the way, and audio is one of those. Okay, I have a semi-finished object. It's not totally done yet, actually. I still have to do one more row, but I am done with my long version of my Playtime cowl. Actually, it'd be kind of nice if I got this blocking here tonight, if I can do the final border. So I showed off the single loop Playtime cowl, I think on the last episode, and I started working on the double loop Playtime cowl. So I know the colorway is really, really busy. I'll have to put a picture in of my single loop one so you can see it in a solid. On camera, it's very busy, but in real life, it's a little more easy on the eyes, I think. But this is so much fun. This is Farm Girl Fibers. Again, I can't remember the colorway, but I'll have to put it on the screen. And this is my design that I am working on. I haven't put it out to testers yet, but I will soon. So if you want to be a crochet tester, make sure you're following me on Instagram so that you can make sure to apply and see all the deadlines and everything for that. So this is a double loop cowl meant to be worn, like twisted up like this. Or you could just wear it, I guess, long if you wanted to. It's a pretty quick pattern. I need to figure out exactly how much yarn that I use, but the single loop is designed for a 1 skein project. This is designed as a 2 skein project. And then the last thing I need to do, you can see I've got a border here on the top. I love that border. I just need to go and do the border on the bottom to finish it off. I think it makes it look so finished. Weave in a couple ends and block this thing and it will be done. So the single loop cowl is done. I need to do a couple of tutorials before I feel ready to actually send it to testers, but I think I'm about ready to call testers. I just need to sit down and make out my form, and then I will be ready. So yeah, that should really be out pretty darn soon, if not by the time I put this video out, in which I will put that information and some text at the bottom. So that's what I've been working on. Pretty good progress for the week. I feel really, really good about it. So hopefully I can, get something fresh on the needles here soon. I feel like I just really want something off my needles and then something new on. I'm just ready for something new. Slipstravaganza is starting to weigh me down. And some people have said, I can't believe you're still working on that. And I would have given up by now. And I still know several people who are still working on those. So it's not just me. But I feel like what keeps me motivated is make 30 for 30, definitely. And just, I don't know, like switching things up, changing the progress keeper. I don't know. I don't know how I'm still able to work on it because I'm still not entirely sure that I'm going to love it when it's done, but hey, I'm going to finish it and I'm going to be excited about it and block it and everything. Okay, I have some yarn to show you guys. It is super, super beautiful. I've got it all crinkly right now because I wanted to show how pretty it came in the pack. Oh yes, okay. So this is from Specktacular Yarns. Thank you so much for sending this to me here. I am so excited about this yarn. Look at this. I'm gonna pull it out in just a second, but I've got some yarn in here to give away. I'm going to keep one because actually there's a little surprise in here. So let me get this opened up and I will show you all the skeins. All right, so again, this is from Specktacular Yarns. You got to follow her on Instagram. She has amazing colors. I love that. I love it when like a little goodie, a useful goodie is sent in with the yarn. I feel like that makes it so much fun. Okay, so I think it's Jennifer, right? I don't know why I always second guess myself when I want to say people's names like associated with their yarn. I'm like, is that right? Jennifer, right? Jen. Okay, that's what I'm going to think it is. I picked out these two colors because I thought they were both super, super fun. This one is called Glow Party. Oh my goodness. Isn't that amazing? I love that. And then this one is called Fruit Loops, and it's just got like the most fun little blue speckles and beautiful base. I think that these go together super great. You can see like this is a little more pink, but it's like picking up really, really well. So much fun. And then this one was a surprise. I think these all three go together really, really great. But when I saw this one, I was like, I feel like she was thinking of me when she threw that one in there. So I think that I want to hang on to this and try out this Specktacular yarn for you guys and knit something up because I think it is super, super fun. But these two are going to be a giveaway. So what I want you to do first is click on the link down in my description box. I'm going to link the Specktacular Yarn site. It is specktacularyarns.com. So go ahead and go over there and follow at Specktacular Yarns on Instagram. Give their shop some love for just sending these skeins out so that we can see them. And then these two are going to be part of a giveaway. Super easy. If you want to enter to win these, just put a comment down below. I'll put the dates in and everything in the description box when I'm going to draw, which will be a week from now. And then I will get these beautiful yarns sent out to you. You don't have to use them together. You can do whatever you want. They are a 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon base. And this beautiful glowy pink, should I do the hat in this instead? Hat in this, hat in this. I mean, come on. Probably not the best color for me. What do you guys think? As I hit the microphone. Let me know what you would do with this yarn, either one. But I think it's so beautiful. Anyway, thank you so much for sending these yarns to me to do a giveaway, and make sure that you guys enter. Let's answer some questions here on Ravelry. If you ever have any questions that you want me to answer on the podcast, head to the Ravelry thread and put them in the Ask Me thread. That just made me think, I feel like somebody asked me a question on Instagram that they wanted me to answer on the podcast, and I feel like I looked at it and I was like, yeah, I'll answer that, and then it was gone. So definitely put them on Ravelry if you can. If you're not a Ravelry user and you want to email me or some other way, I will do my absolute best. I will do my best. Okay, let's see. The first question this week is, here we go, from The Constant Stitch. Okay. Hi, Natalie. I hope you're well. I'm back knitting after a break to recover from RSI. So happy. Oh my gosh, I'm happy for you too. That must have been hard. I'm about to start a complicated part of a pattern which I might have to undo. Often when I undo parts of projects, I struggle not to drop stitches. In case it goes wrong and I have to rip back, is there a way to insert some wool so that I don't risk losing what I've done so far? Does that make sense? I feel like you've mentioned something before. Thank you, Liz. Okay, Liz, that's a really good idea. So there's a few different methods that you can actually do in order to rip back and not lose your stitches. The one I think you're talking about is a lifeline, and I'm actually not very familiar with lifelines. I've never used a lifeline before. A lifeline would basically be like you're putting in another strand of yarn. Sometimes I think people like to use cotton because it's very smooth, so it's not going to catch and stuff on your wool yarn, or just something thinner, a smooth type of yarn, and actually put it into the knitting. But I think what you would do is, like, let's say you're like the row before you start your complicated pattern, you've got a plain row. I think that's when you would feed the yarn through. Maybe. I think there are even some needles where there's a tiny little hole in there and you can poke your waste yarn, your lifeline yarn in, and as you knit that row, so you poke it into the right needle, as you knit that row, it just gets threaded in. So that's one way to do it, is you thread in a lifeline before you start the complicated part of the pattern. Therefore, if you mess up, you can rip, and your stitches will be live on a plain row on your waste yarn ready for you to pick up. That's one method. Another method is to pick up your stitches with a knitting needle and then rip back. And that's a tutorial that I do have. So I'll make sure to link that tutorial for you. It is called, I think, Picking Up Stitches to Rip Back. Like very, very straightforward. But instead of having the yarn there for you, you take your knitting needle and you find like a row below where you've made a mistake, and you go stitch by stitch and you just pick up your stitches and then you rip back. And I really like doing that method. It would be a little complicated in a pattern, but for something like stockinette, ribbing, something really plain, it works great. And then one more method, not the last method that exists, but just one that I like to do, is I like to rip back to 1 to 2 rows before I need to put my stitches back on my needle. So pull your needle out, frog, like pull until you're 1 to 2 rows before. For that last row, you only go stitch by stitch. So you would put your needle in, pop out, like pull the yarn to pop out that stitch, put the next stitch on your needle, pull the yarn, put the next stitch on the needle. So like 1 stitch at a time you're unpicking, except that most of the stitches are not on the needle at all. You're putting them back onto the needle. That might not make a whole lot of sense. I would do better to actually show you how to do that, but I do like that method a lot. So rip back to 1 to 2 rows before, and that allows you to go stitch by stitch. And then usually I unpick like 1 more row just to make sure everything is lined up and nothing has dropped. Because it can be really hard when you're trying to pick up from live stitches and you're trying to pick up a stitch that's dropped. Don't do that. Just get anything live on the needle, and after everything's on the needle that you can get on there, then you can go back and make repairs. Because as you're trying to like pick up a stitch that's dropped a few rows, the live stitches on either side will start to drop, and then you have a mess. I think that's why some people that are crocheters first are scared of knitting, because of the live stitch aspect. But once you learn how to do it, it's so much better, because you don't have to rip out the entire row to fix 1 stitch. You can just drop things down. Well, that was a tangent. Okay, let's answer another question. Okay, this is from Night Flame. Hi, Natalie. My daughter wants to ask you, what are the origins of Toaster's name? Every time she sees me watching you, she asks, is Toaster in this one? Well, she needs to go watch my vlog that I just put out, because Toaster's in there quite a bit. So Toaster was actually my husband's dog first. He adopted Toaster before we started dating, and Toaster was a name that he had just always wanted to name a dog. Toaster kind of comes from the children's book and movie, The Brave Little Toaster, which if you haven't seen it, don't. It's like one of those terrifying 80s or 90s movies that you're like, did we show that to kids? It's not actually terrifying. It's just like a cartoon, an animated movie where the appliances come to life and weird things happen. It's interesting. Anyway, Brave Little Toaster, that's where his name comes from. And it was my husband's idea. I thought it was not a good idea. I thought it was like a silly name. I think I might have actually said a dumb name. And Kent never lets me forget it. He's like, you thought his name was stupid at first. I'm like, I know. But now you can't imagine him as anything other than Toaster. So that is the story of his name. This question is from Victoria Markison. Hi, Natalie. I just discovered your podcast and have been binge watching you for 2 days for 12 hours a day. Oh my goodness. I noticed you have the same problem as me with sweaters due to the hips being quite a bit larger than the waist. My hips are 8 inches bigger than my waist and 5 inches bigger than my bust. And all the sweaters I knit are tight and slide up on the hips. I totally get you. My measurements are similar. Do you have any tips or rules on where to start the shaping on the waist and how often? I tried it once and it was horrible and I've been scared/too lazy to try again. Would love to hear your thoughts on this and maybe in a podcast so you don't have to write out a long response. Hey, maybe this is who I read to answer in the podcast. Okay, so I definitely have a suggestion for you. What is this? Oh, this came out of the Specktacular Yarns bag. It's a little sample of an oil. That's funny. I just saw that. Okay, so when I am knitting, when I am choosing a sweater pattern, when most people are choosing a sweater pattern, they do give you bust measurements for women, right? Which is a really excellent place to start. But just because your bust is, let's say, 40, it doesn't mean that like this woman's bust who's 40 and this woman's bust who's 40 and this woman's bust who's 40 is also going to have hips and waist and whatever like the rest of the sweater design. That's the beauty of making your own sweaters, is that you can adjust it once you know how. Okay, so for me, if I'm going to make a pattern from the top down, I am going to choose a size that fits my bust. And I am going to knit from the top to the bust how the pattern is written. Except for the armholes, I usually go up a size in the armholes because I don't like it to be tight. Okay, so then what I will do is I will like knit it to like here, where I feel like on my body is pretty straight, right? And then I'm gonna do some A-line shaping. So literally like from here, just a straight A-line, like even increases all the way down to the hips. Now, how I figure that out is I look in the pattern for another size. It's usually 2, 3, 4 sizes bigger than the one that I started out with. And I look for a measurement that's gonna fit my hips. I measure my hips where I want it to go, and I do the math. So let's just say I measure 40 on my hips, and the gauge is 5 stitches per inch. 40 times 5 is 200, right? So I would look for whatever size is closest to that number of stitches. So I'm like, okay, now I need to go from, let's just say, this would be insane. I was at 100 stitches, but when I get to my hips, I need to be at 200 stitches, and I have 14 inches to do it. And then I figure out that math. Okay, well, if I'm going to do 4 increases, 2 on each side, every time, then I need to increase 100 stitches. How many times am I going to do that? And how many inches do I have to go over that? It sounds like a lot of math, and it kind of is, but once you start getting into it, it's not as hard. And the person that I learned this from is, I just forgot her name. Amy Herzog. She's got some really good like books and tutorials on how to figure this out, how to do the best fit for your body, and not just for A-line shapes like where your bust is smaller than your hips, for lots and lots of shapes. So I would definitely suggest doing some research with her or some of the other sweater pattern designers, because they can be really helpful. I took a class and now I know how to do it, and it's been really super duper helpful. I also know to pick patterns that sometimes naturally include that or naturally have like 10 inches of positive ease, and that's going to fit my body really, really well. So once you know how your body is, you can start to look for things like this. Take your measurements, guys. It is nothing to be ashamed of. Like, take your measurements, figure out what your body is really like, and then you are a knitter and crocheter. You can actually find, pick, and create things that are going to make you feel amazing. So that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of knitting for me, especially. I think that that's such a positive. If you have more questions, Victoria, specific questions, please feel free to like email me. Sometimes my Instagram DMs get lost, like I was saying. So feel free to email me. I'm happy to help you like specifically sort through things like that. Okay, I've got a few more questions, but I'm gonna actually leave them and come back to them later on so that we can keep moving through here. Okay, so let's talk about some news. I actually have several things to talk about, so let's get started on that. First, we have Make 30 for 30, which is going to wrap up here on Sunday, I believe is January 31st. So we've been knitting or crocheting on one project every day for 30 days. I've seen people finish their original project and start on a new one. Like, it may be like a lingering whip, but like they move from finishing to another project, which is so cool. I mean, I've literally seen like sweaters come to life, cows, somebody's making like a cow, cows come to life, just all kinds of things being made by working on them little by little every single day. Just because we're celebrating Make 30 for 30 here in January doesn't mean you have to stop. Continue it throughout the year. I think that is just such a good strategy. If you're just now hearing about Make 30 for 30, join in with us for the rest of the week. Every day, work on a project for 30 minutes and you will be surprised at how far you get. Okay, I have a new vlog this week. I'll leave the link for you down below. It's from this past weekend. I did a lot of different stuff. It was a very busy weekend, mostly doing like side hustle work and random stuff, and took you along with me, a little bit of knitting, a little bit of crochet, a little bit of toaster. So go check that out. I just premiered that today. We did a little live premiere and that was really fun. Membership. So we are about to start month 2 of the Love and Stitches memberships. Our insider group is still closed to new members. I'm hoping to reopen or add another insider group in March. I have some people on the wait list, so if you want to waitlist it, you absolutely can. And in the meantime, join us in the membership, which is $10 a month. So this month, both our members and insiders, we are doing an exclusive make along for February and March. So you are welcome to come in and join us. I'll have the link down below. We are doing a brioche along and a new to you make along. So basically there's 2 options, both for the same prizes. I ordered something super cool. I think it's super cool and I'm really excited, and you will only have the opportunity to win and participate and do all the fun things with us if you are part of the membership. So I am trying to pick out my brioche project because I'm gonna do a brioche project. If you're not in the membership now and you're thinking about it, when we are picking our make-alongs, we kind of brainstorm and then vote on them together. So it's a really interactive and fun thing. So I have these 2 yarns and they are from Hooker's Corner. And gosh, you guys remember, it's been like 3 years now. Kathy, I believe is her name. Kathy, who is the dyer behind Hooker's Corner, she lived in Paradise, California, where there were those horrible, horrible fires that just destroyed the town. And so I feel like this yarn is so special because I don't know if, I think she started dyeing again, but this was from before all of that happened. Just terrible, like so sad. And I got this at Bliss Yarns when I was in Tennessee. And so I've been hanging on to it for a little while. And sometimes I will tie, you can see these are tied together with a ribbon. If I know I want to use them together, I will tie them together. So I had planned to make a shawl called All About That Brioche with these 2 colors. They are pretty crazy, aren't they? The yellow wants to like flash and stuff. The yellow is called Daffodil and this one is called Hooker's Corner. So That's really cool. So I think I'm going to use these together. They are a single ply yarn, but instead of making the All About That Brioche shawl, I was looking at it today and I'm like, it has a lot of garter in it, and I just didn't, I don't know. I don't really feel like doing all that garter and doing just a little bit of brioche. I want all brioche. And so I also want to make sure I'm doing a pattern that starts with brioche, because I'm going to be helping out everyone who is new with brioche in the make along. I already have a couple of brioche tutorials, so if you're looking and you need a brioche tutorial, I do have some. But I want to have a project, ready to go. And so I think I'm going to make I already forgot what it's called, so I'll just put the name on the bottom of the screen. But it is a brioche cowl. It starts out with just simple 2-color brioche, and most of the cowl, it's a single loop, is that simple 2-color brioche. And at the top, it starts a couple of little increases and decreases. And I just think that is so cool, because if you're a beginner brioche knitter, definitely, I think, start with a pattern like this, where you've got 2 colors. It makes it a lot easier to distinguish what you're doing. And then in the round, because that way you only have 2 different rows that you're doing. One color is always going to be your brioche knits, and one color is always going to be your brioche purls, which are just knit 2 together and purl 2 together, guys. Brioche is not as hard as it looks. It's a secret, don't tell anybody. But that way it just makes it so much easier than trying to do 1 color brioche or brioche going back and forth, where you actually have 4 different rows. I promise you it's easier in the round. And then once you've gotten the hang of it for several inches, you get to try your hand at some increasing and decreasing. So I think it's just the perfect first brioche pattern. Plus it's free. Plus I looked at it today and it actually uses correct brioche terms. Instead of saying knit 2 together, it says brioche knit and brioche purl, which is going to set you up for more success if you go on to other brioche patterns. So I feel like I've vetted it. I feel like it's a great pattern, and that's the one that I'm going to start, I believe, with these. So that's going to be really fun. So, I've got all kinds of projects. Oh, look at this. I must be in a brights mood. See, I was like, yeah, let's start with this beautiful, and then I went crazy. I must be in a brights mood. I need a pick me up here, I guess. So if you want to join us in that exclusive make along, come and join the membership. And if you're like, I don't like brioche, that's why we have 2 options. The new to you make along is going to be for anything that is new. If it's a new technique, if you're like, I always do cuff down socks, now I'm going to do toe up socks, or I've been wanting to try this heel. Okay, stop talking about socks. If you're a crocheter and there's a new technique you want to try, Tunisian crochet, or just a brand new item, I want to try a shawl. I've never knit or crocheted a shawl. That's what this is for. So those are going to be really fun. And again, I've got an exclusive prize, 2 of them, and it's going to be really cool. So I'm excited to share that with my members. We're also doing a social event, a live social event via Zoom. I got tons of feedback from the last one to make it more interactive. So that's what we're going to be doing with this upcoming one on February 5th. So if you're signing up, make sure to sign up by February 5th. Actually, we're starting the make along on the 1st and we're doing a live. So you might want to sign up by the 1st. And then we're doing our social event on the 5th, which is going to be really fun. We're going to split off into different groups to get to know each other and chat for a portion of it before we come back and do our main event. And it's just going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for this membership to grow, and as we perfect things, we're going to add to it. So I really appreciate everyone who's joined so far and trusted me and given me feedback and helped me make it even better, and we're just going to keep on rocking it and making it even more awesome. Okay, that's enough about the membership. Oh, SKREPPA. SKREPPA, that's what that cowl is called. Oh my goodness. Okay, 2 more announcements. I will be offering private lessons here coming soon. So these are going to be virtual private knitting or crochet lessons on a myriad of different things. It's basically going to be customizable to what you would like to do. So if you are, again, just a specific technique that you want to work on, like brioche, like cables, like anything, we can sit down and work on that together. If there's a specific pattern you are wanting to get started, we can work on that together. If you're wanting to learn to crochet or wanting to learn to knit, we can also do that together. These lessons are going to be available in increments of 30 minutes to an hour, and I will have more information on it very soon, but signups will open on February 1st. So I know it's been really hard with COVID and just not being able to go into your yarn store, not being able to sit around the table and chat. And that's where both the membership and the private lessons are coming from. For all of us, I feel like we need that community. And for some of us, it doesn't matter what time, if it's COVID season or not, you might not live close enough to a yarn store or have that kind of relationship with a yarn store. And so having another space online that you can access anytime is what I am hoping to offer with that. So look for more information coming soon. And then one more announcement, I am going to be taking a break from posting videos next week. I am going to be doing membership stuff, but it's more because I have some other things in my life that I need to be working on. And I will be back. I'm making sure I'm looking at the date. Yes, I will be back on Monday the 8th with a special announcement. And if you're in the membership, you're going to get to hear it first on the 5th at the social event. It's really something very exciting, and I can't wait to share it with you. And that will be in my, I'm going to do a new yarn room tour to show some things off to you guys. So very, very excited about that. So this will be it for about a little over a week, and come back on Monday the 8th because I have something exciting to share. Okay, what else do I have going on? Good, I didn't write any notes. I didn't write any notes past that because I was doing this at work. Life is going well. All I want to do right now is knit, so there you go. I have lots of things that I need to be working on, but I'm feeling very blessed at the moment. Work is extremely busy still. Gosh, last night, this is never, I mean, I have not done this at all this year, probably in 2 or 3 years. I brought my computer home to work, which I know is like, wow, Natalie, that's not a big deal. But I really legit haven't done it in years, and I needed to bring my computer home this weekend. I procrastinated and saved that work to do until Sunday night. And so I was working till like 10, 15 on Sunday night. And even last night I stayed at work and worked late on Tuesday, and it's just been really, really busy. Testing season always is, but with all of the logistics of kids being at home, kids being on campus, and then this time we have kids that are home coming on campus for their tests. It's like craziness, just making sure everything's running smoothly, communicated, and prepared. So that's basically what my life has been work. I've been trying to do my best to do all the nitty natty things and this and that here and there as I can, which has been really, really good. Bringing me joy. Well, honestly, yarn is always bringing me joy. Getting this happy mail. Oh, I had one more thing. If you haven't gone to the vlog yet, I am giving away, this doesn't look very good because I didn't put the box together right. I am giving away the contents of this box in my vlog. So I've got 2 giveaways going on right now. One on my vlog for Yarnable and one here for Specktacular Yarns. So make sure you are commenting because that's going to get you entered to win. These are so pretty. I love those. Thank you so much, Jennifer, I think. Why am I like this? Why do I forget names? Anyway, I don't think I have anything else important to say, so I'm going to cut myself off before I ramble on. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to comment to enter to win Specktacular Yarns, and go over and support her shop by following and commenting and seeing if you find anything pretty in her shop. Thanks for watching. I'll be back after a break on Monday the 8th. Bye.